Multilingual, you can see we just typed out 2 different languages there. It falls a little bit short when it comes to the actual writing experience, and this is because they went from the Mimes to the Alita, and this is actually a step down in terms of the writing feel. There's almost no resistance on the screen anymore, and it's very iPad tablet-esque now. It's super smooth, you don't get any resistance or torque, and you lose that pen to paper feel, so it just feels like you're writing on a tablet. Although it does have extremely good cross-compatibility with almost every stylus on the market. Number 3, the Remarkable. Going by only one name for its make and model, the screen is very nice, and you do get, with certain tools, you get this kind of rough pencil to paper kind of graphite look. They say it's the closest thing to paper, but we have found a couple other devices that are a little bit closer. The pen itself is actually not very good. In fact, they don't have a secondary button or an eraser. In fact, the eraser is taken up by a spare nib chamber, and although that is cool, there's a lack of functionality. It's actually the nib that is the most impressive part of the pen. They give you 10 to 12 replacement nibs in the box depending on the pen you get. So the nib itself is a kind of graphite carbon nib, and it does wear out pretty quickly, but it offers a decent writing experience. But the pens can get very expensive. They're $65 to $100 USD to replace, and they do things like having a little click at the back that serves no functionality, and even on the $100 premium pen, there's no secondary button or eraser on it. And although it does have some decent ways to change your writing experience, its over-reliance on the computer kinda just doesn't do it for us. The whole thing about syncing your software to transfer data and the lack of other available functions with this device sets it at number 3. Although their cross-compatibility is some of the best. Number 2, the Supernote by Rata. This easily has one of the best latency out of any device and the most pressure sensitivity customization out of any device we have ever used. It has 4096 levels of pressure sensitivity, and it absolutely shows, making microscopic lines all the way to a thick bleed. These guys are actually the odd bunch out because they're not running Android, and they have a lot of gesture support on their device. So they have hidden menus, hidden refreshes, sidebars that pop out. It's actually really cool. They even have their own little accessory rail on the back of the device where you can put cases and stands and everything. These guys also employ a rubber screen protector from factory that goes corner to corner that you can't even really tell it's on there, but it gives you an amazing writing feel. And you pair that with the proprietary Wacom stylus made in Japan, made out of metal, and it's actually quite heavy. This offers easily the number 2 best writing experience out of any note-taking device on the market. The included Supernote pen, the Samsung pen, and the OEM Wacom pen. All check. Before we get to our number 1 spot, we want to give an honorable mention to a company that came out of nowhere in 2019, and that is the Whiskey Eight Epad. Now this thing with its deca-core processor, dual SIM card slot, stereo speaker, 10.3-inch Android open operating system device, you'd think it would be a force to be reckoned with. But the fact is that you can't even really take notes on it without turning on A2 mode, and in doing so, you actually defeat the purpose of taking notes because the quality is so reduced. You also have a phone operating system that makes everything kind of just small and blown up, and everything's kind of washed out. Plagued with software issues, tons of bugs, terrible battery, and a note-taking software that you can't even use to take notes. We found devices that have single-core processors that are faster than this, and with a 10-core processor, we would have figured you could. But with all of these cons, we really couldn't place it in our top 5. And number 1 goes to the Sony DPT CP1/RP1. We're not including the S1 in this because we just don't feel it's as good as this. There are so many reasons to put this in 10th place in the market. It It's running Android, but you can't install apps. It doesn't have a glow light. It has no pressure sensitivity. You can only read one file format. You can't even look at images. This thing is heavily restricted. You can't even connect to Wi-Fi if you were to go to Starbucks or McDonald's or any open Wi-Fi source. The amount of ways you can change your documents is next to none. There's so many reasons I would give this last place, including the stylus needs to be charged constantly because if it runs out of batteries, you can't use your device, and there's no loop either. It just has this magnetic snap that falls off ever so easily. It's also very expensive, but the writing experience is just that good. We in the office have never seen a writing experience so crisp, so sharp, so responsive, and so paper-like. That is the thing above anything else. If it wasn't for the fact that this is so identical to writing on a piece of paper on, say, like a hard marble tabletop, we would have given it to the Supernote. Now, here is the problem with this device is that aside from all the other cons, this device is very expensive because the stylus is very expensive. Depending on where you live, this can be upwards of $160 to replace. As I said, it needs to be charged at the back, and the tips can be very expensive as well because they are graphite and they do wear down. This one's already at a little angle, but this one, besides all the cons, takes the #1 spot for the note-taking devices. In terms of stylus support, there is virtually none. The Supernote and the Wacom do not work, only the one that is included with the device. Currently, as of June 2019, these are your only choices. These are the 5 companies that handle note-taking on digital e-ink. Now, there are other things like the Samsung devices and the Apple devices that do note-taking as well, but they're not technically e-ink and they're tablets. So if you do want something, you can't really go wrong with any of these. Whether it's complete open Android or a closed-off garden, there will be something for everyone. So I hope this helped you make a decision. For GoodyReader.com and a top 5 wrap-up of the 5 note-taking e-ink devices, this is Peter.